Going on, Ryan?
Yo.
Can man, it's really hard to I was like trying to figure out a way that I could like interact with people and have a conversation about anxiety, and it's way harder than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Way harder. Do you want to help me out here?
It's pretty cool. Just the kind of I don't know, where was that last dude from?
Nigeria.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. So what are your basic thoughts? Do you have any overarching themes that you want to express?
All I know is that social media can be a place to where it there's so much comparison and so much you see what other people are doing, and you wish that maybe you were doing more and all this sort of stuff. So I was just gonna ask different people what their experience with anxiety has been, and like maybe how taking breaks from social media can be important.
Man,
I know that you do that. I know that I do that. So like, what has that done for you?
Well, first of all, I think our brain, just from a brain standpoint, in terms of interacting on social media, you know what it does to our brain when we're even just scrolling Instagram. Each image is affecting our brain in a different way. So say you look at 10 images in 10 seconds, your brain's going like this. And so it's going to take a while to recover. So if you're doing that, some people are doing that 8 hours a day constantly. I think everyone kind of sees they get addicted to their phone. I mean, it's pretty common knowledge now. People just reach for their phone in empty space. We used to be able to enjoy empty space, and that's what I realized that I don't. I started.
But as soon as there's a quiet moment, you're reaching for your phone and you don't even know why you're going on it. You're just like,
no. Okay. And then so you're subconsciously taking in all of these responses.
Yeah. Not
to mention the fact that you're looking at. We all know. I mean, we've talked about this. This is all common knowledge about what we're looking at. People only paint the portraits of themselves that they want people to see. So you're not even taking in reality at that point. You're taking in a bunch of shows. Wow. We are all putting on our own little show.
Right.
So I don't know. I've been taking various social media breaks over the past few months, and I find my brain like being really affected by the quiet moments. Like it's recovering. Like it's not used to the quietness, so it's almost creating. Like I don't know. I've had some really weird of my brain just spinning out, and I'm like, what's going on? I think it's just actually trying to process and catch up to. I don't know. People that are much smarter than me that study the brain would know exactly what's going on. But I think after a few days of a social media detox, I start to feel like really refreshed, and I just think we're just so plugged in, man. It's a little unnecessary to be so plugged in, and even the interactions with people that we don't even know. I find myself interacting with people that I'll probably never even meet, and I don't necessarily know if that's the greatest thing.
It can affect the people who are directly in front of us, right? Don't you agree? Like we're not the people who are necessarily in front of us because
Yeah, why not be present, right? Like, why, if I'm hanging out with you, why am I picking up my phone and seeing what other people are doing?
Right. But then there's a part of that is actually, helpful too, because you're getting inspiration, like I look on Instagram and I find that I get inspired a lot of times too. So there's both sides of like, if I'm seeing someone else do really cool stuff, I'm like, man, that's inspiring. I want to go do some cool stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just finding the correct balance. But you happen to be, I think you're very aware, right? So a lot of people aren't necessarily aware of that, the balance, trying to find a balance. So I think that's the biggest thing is being intentional is what I was trying to say. Being intentional about what you are using it for. Essentially, you're on Instagram right now, and because you have a very intentional reason. You want to talk about anxiety, you want to talk about helping people, etc. That's a very intentional aspect. It's not just like a brainless way to be on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just like finding inspiration, etc. But being aware, like, okay, well, this could go downhill very quickly. So, but being aware of the pitfalls, I guess, of it.
Right.
have you been? I mean, have you been, struggling with any kind of anxiety lately?
No, but I was just watching something and it was talking about how, you know, we post stuff sometimes. I was starting to think whether I'm like, man, is my posting all of this like stuff that like all of our accomplishments, like is that more discouraging for people or encouraging? Because you got people who are like, man, look at what Justin's doing, and like, what am I doing?
Absolutely.
And,
Have you felt that way?
So like my intention is to like, yo, look what's possible. Like I'm from a small town in Canada, and I'm living my dreams, and it's, this is pretty awesome, and I don't want that to turn into like somebody, living in their small town like, yo, I man, I and just feel discouraged because they're like, man, look at Justin's doing it, I'm not doing it, I wish I was doing it, I can't do it, rather than feeling encouraged by that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You're just empathetic. So, I think everybody's going to receive everything a little different, and it's tough to kind of, I totally get what you're saying. You want to be an encouragement rather than a discouragement. We've all been there before.
Right. So I think maybe, I don't know, like I've been trying to not necessarily make sure everything's super dialed in, like as far as like perfection. Like I think one thing about like the Seasons documentary is it showed me kind of in a really messy season. And I think like what can be tricky about Instagram is that, or social media in general, is that it shows people's best and like hides all of the other stuff. So it's like people, you're kind of confused because all of you see is, all of this really dialed in stuff, and you're just like, man,
Absolutely. So you felt that before from looking at other people's
definitely
posts. You've actually felt that, so that perhaps that's having the same effect on other people.
Exactly. But then I know there are some people who are like, man, you make it feel like I can do anything too. So there's both sides of the coin.
It's a lot, bro. So
yeah.
you that's just the reality of just how I think an empathetical, somebody who's aware of others is thinking.
Yeah, thank you,
It's just,
bro.
you're just thinking about everybody and just trying to help people.
Thanks, man.
I think that's admirable.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, somebody just said comparison is the thief of joy. That is so true.
Wow.
But
we all experience that. I experienced that, just comparing myself to others. And I obviously that can make us feel just kind of not good enough, or and that can steal our time and steal our purpose-filled life, right? Like, because we're worried about what someone else is doing rather than what God's put in our heart, maybe.
And just being present, right? Like just thinking, just being present and enjoying what we have right now. And that's the only thing we have right now is actually right now.
Yep.
Which is wild. So like even the conversation we just had doesn't exist anymore. The time doesn't even, right now.
Right. It just keeps going.
Going. So being aware of all that. It's tough, man. I think it's just tough right now. It's tough for a lot of people. It's tough. I never thought that I would be having conversations about my own anxiety. You know what I mean? Or just what it's just wild.
I think too, like for someone in, I'd say, my position, to the outside world who looks like they're in this place of like ultimate success, right? Like, and I think reminding people that stuff doesn't just alleviate anxiety. Like anxiety, sometimes, things can get worse to a certain extent, like I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but
no, totally. I mean, there's a lot. There's just a lot. You got a lot coming at you. You got a lot that you want to do. You got a lot that you want to pour into others, etc. It's just a bigger world, a larger area of influence, territory of influence.
I guess what I want people to understand or know that, like, God is here right now, and like the ultimate goal is just being with Him, and we're always going to be in pain. We're always going to be struggling, and there's always pain in this